Hey there viewers, and welcome back to the South Main Auto Channel. Time to get started on the Hyundai Sonata. This is the one that we had the whole powertrain that sits out there from the Wilbert's full service yard. If you guys missed that video, links down below. Check that out. Talks about the car, where it came from, how it got here, and well, what we're doing, frankly. I will say this though, I see people question me and say, is this really worth it? Why would you put this kind of money into a 2012 Sonata? You know, these things are notorious for engine failure. Well, the short answer is the car was free. So that makes it pretty much worth it. If I had a lot into this car and had to buy a whole powertrain for it, well, now it's not worth it. Second of all, not only was it was a free Southern car. I think I told you guys it came from South Carolina. That's a big fat lie. As most of you saw, it has a North Carolina plate on it. So it came from North Carolina. Either way, it came from the land of sunshine. Underside of this car is spotless. Okay, there's not so much of the speck of rust on it. Even after sitting for a few years out in the prickers, it stayed rust free. You know, minus the brakes and the dry rot and stuff on the tires. And here's how I justify it: is it's going to a teenage driver. Kid doesn't have a lot of money. He's my child. And to buy a car, particularly to buy a car around here, you know, I'm not talking about, you know, we take a weekend off, we drive down south, get something mint, drive it back. But to buy a car around here when you've only got, you know, $4,000 or $5,000 to spend, because this is how much he's saved up to, you know, to buy a car, because we make our children buy their own car. We make them pay for their own insurance because we want them to grow up to be responsible adults and not just a bunch of entitled little pricks. So that's why we make our kids pay for their own stuff. So this is how much money he has to play with. That will buy the powertrain, that will buy the tires and the brakes and fix everything else that this car needs. And then he'll have a good, clean, and the most important part, rust-free car. The powertrain has less than 50K on it. So we're talking struts, engine, trainee, everything else that's on there, the wheel bearings, you know, whatever else is on that, that whole dropout assembly is a third of the mileage that the car actually has on it. So that's great. So if he has that kind of money, he's going to put into it and have a clean, rust-free car with brand new brakes, brand new tires, and less than 50K on the powertrain. You'd be pretty hard-pressed to find something like that around here for that kind of money. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Enough talking. Let me show you underneath this thing, show you what we're dealing with, and then we'll get after it. So here's what we're dealing with. Like I say, brakes are solid rust. Tires are solid dry rot. She's been curbed a few times, but here's the main thing. Huh? Read them and weep, northern boys. She is mint in the rust department. Especially for 13 years old. It's got something going on with this control arm here. I see there's some rust coming off of that. Probably the bolt's loose and the bushing shot, one or the other, but yeah, she is clean, even for sitting out there in the prickers. I mean, it's got, you know, cobwebs and stuff. Like I say, tires are junk. The brake's pretty well locked up. But she's pretty good. Now up front here, now if you guys watched the first video, you'll know the customer hit a bump. And that's what broke the transmission and made it, you know, spill all its guts here. So when he hit the bump, we use that term loosely, you know, busted all this plastic, because whatever it was came up here, smacked the bottom of the transmission, and then, you know, broke the transmission case. So we're gonna need to get all this plastic crap. So what I'm gonna do before we get started here is I'm just gonna take and yank all this plastic bits off here. Just let them hit the ground. We're gonna end up going down to the Wilbert's U-Pull, and I'm sure, seeing if they have a Sonata down there that's Sonata all smashed up in the front, and get what we need. You know, I don't know if that's part of the fender liner or whatever, but prior to doing that, we're just gonna pull that off, throw it away. We're gonna get that powertrain stuck in there, and if it's all good, then we're gonna keep proceeding. Man, it must be so nice to be in the South. I mean, just look at this stuff. I'm gonna save everything. Well, before we drop it out, let's drain everything. Transmission should be drained, there's a hole in the transmission. right there. That should be pretty well drained. We'll pop the plug out of it anyways. Bad as this thing's knocking, I kind of half expected that oil to be gray, but it runs really well cold. That's the sad part. Sounds fantastic when it's cold, but let it run for 15 minutes or so and get fully up to temperature. And if you hold the RPMs up about 3,000, boy, she hammers. There's that. Let me grab something here, pull the plug out of the trainee, and then get the coolant draining as well. Spun the oil filter back on, put the drain plug back in. We drained the radiator, got the lower hose off it, and I unhooked both train cooler lines. While I was right here, I did pull the plug in the transmission, and that's empty as well. Lots and lots of metal on that plug. I don't know if much else under here. Let's get the exhaust unhooked while we're under here, I suppose. I looked at that assembly they dropped off. We just need to peel the wheels off here, or yeah, the wheels. Take the wheels off. We need to peel the brakes off. Pads and orders, they left the hub assemblies and all that stuff on there. Whoa, dude. We got the old smoke wrench out here. It looks like we're gonna have to provide a little bit of heat. There's one. There's two. That was easy. Whoa, oh, hey, it wasn't hot. It just didn't take me that long to look at it. Freaking rusty junk. Well, I thought I had that split open a little bit. Well then, we were a little persuasion. Well, geez, usually a little bit of vibration will get them to split apart. Not the case today, I guess. What the world? It appears to be froze up around that stud, perhaps. I would think that would break the bond. Yes, ma'am. Well, that was easy. This is probably what Southerners call rust. The fact that we got the nut off it speaks volumes. All right, so that's gonna sit on top. This has a holder back here, so the cat's not gonna go anywhere, but this will keep that out of the way when we drop it down. We're just about done. I don't know engine-wise if we can leave the harness on it, if it has like bulkhead connectors that we can unhook, or if we're gonna have to go all around this thing and unhook everything and then take it up. I don't know. Get some of this stuff peeled off here. I'm gonna remove the speed sensor from the knuckle. And that is something you will never hear me say on my channel, ever. A, because it never happens. There's not a B to go with that, but unless it's a 2024 or 2025, you're not getting the speed sensor out without a drill and a slide hammer. We're gonna unhook these. This has been aligned before. This is an aftermarket cam bolt. Now we've spoke about this on our channel. People often criticize me for unhooking the ball joint to, swing the strut out of the way to get an axle out, for doing an axle sear or whatever. Like, oh, just unhook the strut, unhook the strut. Well, here's a classic example. If you unhook this strut, you're screwed, because now you need to do a wheel alignment. This is an aftermarket cam bolt. This is a factory bolt. And that's it. That's all we can say. So you take that out, well, guess what? Now you're in trouble. Not in trouble, you just cause more work. See if we can't get this thing to spin, crack free. Oh my gosh. You guys have no idea. Well, I'm sure you do. I mean, there's other folks that live in the Rust Belt that are envious right now of the fact that the speed sensor just came out. Didn't involve a drill. Heck, I didn't even swear. I didn't even think of a swear word. It just came out. That's what you do when you work down south. You take a bolt out, the part comes off. Are these people never pissed? They must get mad at something else. Not cars. Could you imagine being a Southern mechanic and then some ding dong from New York shows up with one of their rot boxes? We too busy. I'm sure that's the answer to that question. Oh, this bolt just came right out. This whole time I'm doing this car, I'm just laughing and laughing. Wow, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Brake pads are still free, not even rusted in the bracket. Wow. I'm gonna pull this little rubber donger off there. We've got ourselves a hooker. We will bring it around, keep it all twisted up, out of the way there. Might need to go higher here with it if we can. I know, that's not good. That doesn't make sense, Eric. Let's just forget about it. We're gonna leave that there for right now. When it comes down to it, we'll move it out of the way. We'll do something with it, because all this stuff is staying, so we can't just hook it up there. Peel the rotor off. Whoa, dude. Give that a few light taps. And that's it. We're just about done. Let me stick these bolts somewhere where I won't forget where they go. The other thing we can do while we're down here is we need to unhook the AC. I'm only gonna crack it just a little bit. I don't know if the system's empty. I know it doesn't work, but it could be from a crappy compressor or something. Let's see if she hisses. Didn't we just unhook that one? We did. Let's unhook the other one, see. Well, hopefully the EPA is not watching. Hopefully they're not watching. Well, those are both all just rusted and corroded right to the pump. Let's give them a little wiggle. Very gingerly. That one's wiggly now. And that one's wiggly now. Great. It must not have a tremendous amount of pressure. Otherwise they would have blown off, right? You would think. Come on, dude. No, I don't hear any pee-peeing. Nothing, not even a whisper. So she must have a pretty good leak somewhere. It looks like the condenser is in really good condition. Possibly has been replaced. Hopefully it's a bad compressor or something. Who knows? You wouldn't think a Southern car would have non-functioning AC. Hopefully it's not an evaporator core. If it is, the child is going to be air conditionerless. And if it's a compressor, we're in luck because the new engine and stuff has a compressor already on it, which is great. After I get this off, we're gonna set it down. We're gonna get this hose out of the way here. We'll set it down and find out what we need to do. What we need to do next. Huh? Here's this guy. What we need to do with the engine harness. So up top, we're gonna have to worry about that. The engine harness, do we unplug it? Do we, chase down every wire and get every connector? Or, like I say, unplug, big connectors, battery cable, stuff like that. So we may end up back under here if we have to chase stuff down and unhook the starter and things of that nature. I'm really hoping for bulkhead connector type stuff. Crusty. Other than that, up top we got fuel lines, upper strut mounts there. I don't know what else. Whatever else needs to be unhooked needs to get unhooked. That's how I'll summarize it. Maybe. I'll tell you what. Let's just get some of this plastic jiggly bits out of the way. We have to unhook the heater core hoses anyway. I'm just saying things to fill in blanks. Vacuum line here on the booster. Fuel lines we're gonna save till last. It looks like we have two of them, probably a pressure and a vapor line is gonna be my guess. I saved those for last just in case we need to bust out the torch. That way there, we don't have so much excitement. So let's do the battery, airbox, plastic jiggly bits, upper hose, heater hose, vacuum hose. Oh, I was just gonna transition into a pretty bad joke right there, Mrs. O. But I'm not gonna. What's up?
Bad joke? Like nobody's gonna laugh?
Well, I'm like, oh no, it would have been just inappropriate.
Actually, there's lots of people trying to read your mind right now.
They're already saying it because we're over here like this hose, that hose, boom, boom, boom. You see, it wasn't gonna be good.
Talking about hoses?
Yes. We usually say, "Where's my hose at?" Anytime. You have to be there, Mrs. O. You have to be. You have to be there.
I'm always there.
We have us a 10 mil La meter. Trigger's a little touchy on that one. The battery I put in just to get the car in here. The hold down, I don't know where that is. Probably should make a list here. I see the air cleaner's busted. Bottom of that's broke. I'll grab a piece of paper, start making our list of things we're going to need to collect from Wilbert's. Down at the U-Pull-It. Just gonna be a bunch of petty stuff. That's what I love about the U-Pull-It, you know, because you know, to get some of this stuff new, it's prohibitive. You know, something as simple as like, hey, yeah, it'd be nice to have this cover. You know, if they still have it. I don't know if they do. I don't know if they cut the cables down there, or what the story is. But somebody's definitely been into this engine, or at some point in its life. These are supposed to be attached to the air cleaner. We'll stick those to the side. I don't know if there's anything else holding that in. Does not appear to be. All right, other than some hose clamps. Gonna be hooked to the throttle body one way or another. That looks like a 10 mil as well. Whoa, dude. See, we got a little carried away there. That's kind of a specialized clamp, so let's get that where we can see it. Our pliers here. Move this clamp back. Get that off there, and then there's a clamp right here as well. There's that one. Come on. And there's that. We'll get this up. We'll get our clamp fixed here. So what's up? This is all. Do you need me? Or you just come out to hang out? You're supposed to say yes and yes.
Always, and I gotta go answer my cell phone.
Gotta go answer your cell phone. Okay. Good talking with you. Son of a bitch. Well, I just dropped that. Well. Nah, I couldn't find that little washer. It's probably on the ground somewhere. I looked for, dang near 20 seconds. We're gonna pull the battery tray out here. I got a feeling there's probably more bolts than that. Oh, bad feeling, dude. Okay, so there's our battery tray. Now I'm just looking at the harness here. That unbolts there, it comes up here. As long as that unbolts out of the box, I think we might be good shape, and it does. That unbolts out of the box. So that'll be our main harness there. Well, that's our negative, that stays. Take that harness, that goes over, so that's probably like alternator starter. Those are gonna go out with the tranny. Take that hose off, we can take this hose off. And then as far as the engine harness, it feels like it comes up here. Might be able to just unhook it there, man. That's gonna be sweet because it's way easier to figure out with these harnesses, you know, when the engine's out in the open. Shoot, I think that's it. I think we're pretty well ready to drop this engine out. Wow, that was easy. Put them bolts back in there. And one little Christmas tree fastener there. Oh, dumb move. Oh, if you do it quick, it doesn't hurt. Gotta be a little cautious there. Sometimes it could be, these things can be delicate. There's that. Let's put the lid back on here. Boy, the only thing that made this job easier is if they sent it with the harness on it. And it was the correct one. That's usually a little tricky. I've seen that happen on enough occasions. Even if I get a salvage yard engine with the harness on it, rarely will I use that harness. We've repaired enough vehicles for other places that have made that mistake and that assumption. And then there's some kind of connector right here. I don't know what it goes to. It's a single wire connector. We're gonna take that like this. We'll pull our hoses up here just so we can get this out of the way. We're gonna leave this attached right to everything. All right, these are coming out. We'll probably take and we'll zip tie these back. We'll zip tie this up wherever that connector is there. Let's just get this hose out of the way. Even though it's already unhooked underneath, I think it'll be a little easier for us. I don't know if these are gonna work. Yep, they do work. There's that. This we'll have to save because we'll have to reuse it. Remember, the cleaned off end is the engine end. That's all you have to remember. You just gotta put stuff like that in your vault. While we're right here, we'll pull this one back. We'll do something with this one. We could take it off and get it right out of our way. See if we can't just stick it down inside the fan shroud there. Okay, that's out of our way now. Da-da-da-do-do. It's our vacuum line for the booster. She had some boost in it still. Stick that out the way. This harness here, Rocco. Oh boy. That comes around and also goes inside the box. I didn't see that. We might be in, oh, it's got a big bulkhead connector. What? It's like they wanted us to take it out this way. Heck yeah. There's that. Let's pop this. Why don't we just pop the PCM right out of the way because the wires go behind it here. Yeah, let's get this engine computer out of the way. It looks like 1, 2, buckle my shoe and that sucker's out of there. It looks like 3 bolts-ish. Whoa! Hey. Man, I think I need to go lube this thing up. The trigger's a little stiff on it. So showing it some finesse is a little difficult. Maybe it's just me. Let's just go to honest down here for a minute. What the flip? I just broke my dang impact. Just broke the freaking anvil on it. You know what causes that? I'll tell you what. She just broke the tip. Break. I think my spare 3/8 gun is at home. A lot of good that's doing me. Have to give Astro a call. See if they'll send me some parts. What causes that is when you're kind of half out of an extension and you're playing a little game of whack fudge on the side of it like that, you'll break the tip off that style. So not uncommon. I like to say we've been there, done that. I'm gonna stick this to the side. This exposes our harness, which goes down in that. Looks like we're gonna need a 10 mil. Zippy zap those off. Guess we can do that while we're right here. Can you guys see? No? Perfect. There's one nut. There's 2. Stick those down. That should loosen up our entire harness. Oh, we have a ground wire there. Ooh, she's crusty. About time we saw some crust. There it is, a whole pile of ground wires. Not as bad as I thought, a little green on the outside. We'll give them a little TLC on the way back in. Okay, so there's our whole wiring harness. Gotta be careful of those connectors. Why don't we bag them? And I thank you. And I thank you. These are a bag of thanks. Give thanks. We'll do this because we don't want to get a bunch of dirt and crud and crap in there. I know I said we'd be careful, but that's usually not in my vocabulary. Also, if you don't have a roll of these bags that you swiped from the hardware store when you were in there. I didn't swipe them. You can buy them on Amazon. You buy a big roll of these little bags. They're great for sticking little parts in. I was gonna say, if you don't have that, stick on your classic latex glove, grab a hold of it, and deglove yourself. Degloving. There was a guy up the road here. He was doing something with his lawnmower. It was sitting on a, he had the back end of it sitting up on a block of wood or, tree stump or something. Went to pick it up and move it, riding lawnmower, grabbed a hold of the back of it like that, and then he like tripped and fell, and it went down, and it landed on top of his hand, and his hand landed on the block, and it degloved his hand. At least that's what the paramedics called it when they showed up. AKA it slipped all the skin off his fingers. It looked kind of gross. Looked like it hurt like hell. Not to mention he was screaming, "This hurts like hell!" But eventually he got past it. Degloved. But yeah, that was what they called it. I remembered that. I'm like, well, it makes sense because it does look like he just took a glove off. Let me get a zip tie this back. We're gonna unhook the shift cable, unhook the heater hoses, and then I think we are DUN done. 12 mil. That's the shifter cable. That's where the adjustment is made. There. We'll pull this whole bracket. Easy. There is a way to unhook it from the bracket. Come on, man. However, I don't feel like fiddling with that right now because oftentimes these things are stuck. There's little metal tabs, so we're just going to leave it right in the bracket. That way we don't have to fiddle with it. I don't want them tweaked out and they don't fit right, and then problem is you're at the car show, the judge sees they've been touched. I don't know how many points it is, but it's quite a few. I don't know if he's going to show the car or not. You never know though. He was on the Facebook Marketplace this morning. Really trying to convince me that he needs this subwoofer. He was working it from pretty much every angle. Doing a real good job. Here's our one line of gasoline. Our other one. Ooh, that stinks. That smells old. Oof. Here's our other gas line that goes right to the canister purge valve. That line is super crumbly looking. Oh yeah. That ain't cooperating. He's about to though. Super crusty. That line's probably gonna get replaced. Well, that's not working how I anticipated. What about this? What we got there? 10 mil. This has some kind of fancy stuff on it. That's a ground wire. Let's do this. Looks like that whole bracket has to go. Sometimes we just poke and hope. Ground wire there needs to be unhooked. There's that. Because this bracket's about to come off. I think that's it. Is that the only bolt? That can't be the only bolt. I didn't think so, dude. Oh, I see. It looks like there might be just a single bolt on that bracket. I didn't see that right away. But now I do. One nut, one bolt. Is that bracket separate for the fuel lines? Kind of? Oh, there it goes. Oh, okay. It has a little hook on the back side. Okay, perfect. So we can leave. We could have left that ground wire hooked up. I'll stick that back in there just so we don't lose track of where things go. Now we can unhook that hose. Sometimes when these old hoses get like this, they can get real gooey. They'll kind of stick on there, but yeah, thing's all dry rotted looking. Boy, this gas stinks. Gasoline does not stay good for very long. Okay, there's that. Now let's do this. Let's do this little number. Stick that back on there. Put that nut on there. Just thread our bolt back in here. Okay, that's that. Now, as I mentioned, I'm going to zip tie this stuff out of the way. That we don't have to, do we? One zip tie will keep that from getting wadded up when we're taking it out. Especially if you're doing it by yourself. Less things you have to keep an eye on, the better. So there's that, and then this one here. We wanted to zip tie this back, at least back somewhere here on the transmission. And do that, those two hoses. Let's get her done. I wonder how fast the guys at Hyundai can change an engine in one of these. You know, after the big recall and all that business. What's the matter, kitty? You wanna go inside? Yeah. Just a minute. Wait a minute, Luna. Oh, mother of pearl. There's one heater hose. We'll get our pliers. We'll get that other one off. Let's go let our kitty inside first. Wanna go in, huh? Come here. Is it lunchtime, huh? Yeah. Wanna go see mommy? Quit patting me and open the door, she says. And there's the lower one. Okay. Okay, dokie. Can't fold that one over. Get it stuffed up under here somewhere. Peeing a little still. Alrighty. I think that's it. All that is left, we have one ground wire on this side that we need to unhook. We have one ground wire on this side that we need to unhook. We're gonna unhook it off top of the train because it has a little clip on it there, so a 12 mil. So that's the main ground there. Never been a huge fan of how Hyundai Kia does their negative side of their battery. They always run a little short one to the body, and then from the body, you know, to the engine, just a tiny little sucker. I mean, it's obviously enough to carry, you know, 100 amps wherever it takes to crank it. But and then there's another one over on this side. And I believe for the 15th time that is it. We are now ready. I need to take a good look underneath this thing. I don't know if we're gonna drop it on our, we've got one of those little Harbor Freight little jacky-uppy lifting tables. I don't remember how much weight that can support. Usually when I'm doing something like this, you know, we're not swapping out the cradle and everything, so we'll set it down on jack stands. Everything, you know, raise the car up. Everything stays stationary. Swap your motor and everything. Set the car back down. Nothing moves. Obviously, in this case, we're not doing that. Let me analyze it, because all we have to do then is this upper engine mount. Take this one off. Over here on the passenger side, there's a hole through the side of the body. It has some bolts going through this upper trans mount, and then that's it. Then there's 4 bolts on the K-frame, and that's it. And that's it. And that's it. That's the only time I'm going to say that's it. This time. Seriously. That's it. And you have to unbolt the struts. And that's it. And that strut over there, and that'll be it. The little Harbor Freight table there says 1,000 pounds. I don't imagine this weighs 1,000 pounds. I already removed the subframe bolts underneath. Now there's 2 of these, 2 nuts. That's it. And here's our engine mount there. I'm gonna pull the other bolt there, other nut off the other side. And we'll come peel this mount off. There's that. She should be pretty well loose. Huh. Well, let's see. Felt like a bolt. That socket feels like it may be a tad on the thick side. Let's go get an impact chrome socket. Yes, sir. The impact socket is a smidge too thick. The black impact. These are chrome impact sockets. Whoa, dude. Just screwed yourself there, fella. You got her pinched. Boy, that shouldn't, let me look underneath here. Yeah, we should be okay. Should be. I want to go get a magnet, I think, if I can't get my fingers in here. There it is, there's that one. That'll confuse the crap out of me, right? Let's see what happens here. Boy, she feels like she's dropping a long ways. You're dropping a long way there, fella. It can't really only go any further than the floor, am I right? See? I told you it'd be alright until it pinches my finger and nobody's here because everybody went to lunch. Then we'd be screwed. How about this? It's got the camera in a bad spot here. What if we jack up on it a little bit? Nope. Slide the car up at this point. Well, there's some piss poor planning for you, fellas. That's how we do it. Let's unhook the training mount, see if it equals us out here a little. Well, you're a long-winded feller, aren't you? Well, I didn't hear it crash onto the floor. Oh, there's still a nut on there, I guess. That's what it feels like. I don't think we're on it anymore. It's too much of an angle. Come on, man. Really sit down in there. I feel like I got my fingers in a pretty bad spot, but we're almost there. There we go. It's stuck on the top of this mount. And what the hell is it stuck on? Nothing, just need to pry a little harder. Boy there. She's wiggling awful tight to this AC line over here. Wonder if I can let it down very, very gingerly. Okay, we let it down a little bit. Stuff you wish you knew before you started. I wish it was a full subframe instead of a little halvesy thing here. Okay, let me back you up. I think we're good. That's the sound where you need to stop. Motor mount's pretty tight to this side. We're gonna have to do something when we start doing something else. The strut on that side appears to be clear. Clear. Oh, baby! I don't hear any wires snapping, so that's good. That strut looks good. Nothing stretched tight. did it, boys. She's out. Piece of cake. There it is. The Hobo Freight little stand thing there worked. Got to modify it a little bit on the way back in. No idea how we're going to pick the other one up to stick it on there to do what we need to do, but that's for another day, I guess. So here's the dealio. I just went outside, took the cellophane off the shrink wrap, we're gonna call it shrink wrap. Clean film, I think they call it over there across the pond. I didn't realize that engine does have the harness on it, and they didn't cut the harness, they unplugged it. Kind of unheard of. So, I take back my previous statement where I'm like, I'd never do that. In this case, I've got the VIN number. Of course, that engine out there has the VIN on the engine and training, but I have the VIN number that came out of. What I'm gonna do before, because I jacked this up, like, well, let's strip it down here. Before we take anything off this, we need to take the catapult off it and save that. But before I take and strip the wiring harness off it, I'm just gonna call Hyundai, compare this VIN to our VIN, and if the harness is the same part number, we're just gonna leave it. So I called our friends at the local Hyundai dealer, and I got the part number on it. This is the part number that belongs on our car, or this is the part number of the harness, the 91203 Quebec 194. This is the one that's on our car, 3 Quebec 203. Different part number. They can't tell much, you know, from there. I mean, they're parts guys. They can't, you know, they don't know what. I mean, this could be the difference of one plastic retainer. You know, and then of course they're going to come up with a new number. So I ate lunch, and while I was eating lunch, I printed out the wiring diagrams for both vehicles. This VIN number, our VIN number, plus the VIN number that Wilbert sent us, just to see, is there any pinout differences? And then what I did is I took those two, and then, you know, take this here, for example, like this is our car, and I held it up next to, you know, this one, make sure, you know, there wasn't just one wire shifted over into a different pin slot. Of course, I am using Mitchell wiring diagrams instead of the OEM, so that in and of itself could screw me. But at the end of the day, I didn't see anything different. There were some things on the diagrams that were laid out slightly differently, but the wiring color and the pin numbers on the ECM, they were all the same, or they appeared to be. Against my better judgment, probably, I'm going to elect to use the harness that's on the used engine. If I'm wrong, we'll just swap it out while it's in the car, which makes it a little more difficult, but definitely not impossible. I'm just going to look at the physical connectors of the ECM and the fuse box, make sure that the locating tabs are the same, make sure it's not some silly little discrepancy like that that's going to hang us up where it's all pinned out the same. And then I think the only thing we need off this whole setup here is the converter. So let's grab that and get the other one in here and get it ready to get put back in. Before I'm done here, I've also got to get a hold of Wilbert's because I don't know what they're expecting back on the core. If it's going to be the whole frame, or, you know, how much stuff we can keep around for this kid. Because if we can keep the struts, you know, granted they've got a lot of miles on them, they're not leaking. You know, if I can keep some of that stuff, that'll be great. Oh, this is one of those real pitas. I don't know if I've got a tool to get that O2 sensor out. I might still have a socket that I cut. What a horrible design that is. Okay, so we need to follow these. Oh, that's already broke, so that's perfect. What we like to see. We have this one here. That one is not broke yet. We can fix that though. Classic yellow lock tab. There's that. Not sure how that comes off there. We might need our glasses. We don't. Part of me in my soul thought maybe if I just get a hold of this down here with a pair of Nipex, I could move it around. We took 7/8 Mac Tools oxygen sensor socket. We whittled her down a little. Right, so it's gonna be a little snug. Maybe it'll. It's still too snug. Let's get a hammer. Got about 9 different O2 sensor sockets. None of which fit. That was easy. Just had to do a little grinding. There it is. And we will leave our socket right in there until we go to stick that bad boy back in. All that to do this. That's all I want to do is expose those bolts. Here we go. Pull off this one. There's that. Swap her out for the 12Z. One bolt over here. Yeah, are we loosey-goosey now? We are not. That's a big negative there. Because there's one more of these nuts. Hides right up under here. And then there's a rubber hanger. Ew, how come there's oil? Lots of oil. What the world? I should get this rubber hanger off, I guess. Let's go get a rubber hanger tool. Ooh, spring loaded there. Where's that oil coming from? Coming from behind here somewhere. Out of this hole. What the world's that? That's nothing. Huh. You got me, I don't know. I think the gasket was on the other engine. We'll save that just in case. And that's it. It's got some junkyard rating on this rack, so maybe it's had a rack at some point. At some point, I see the subframe had been out of it. Realistically, we could have just pulled the subframe and then dropped the engine out. That might have been the thing to do. Maybe it's a little easier, I don't know. Because I think the only thing holding this engine on the subframe is like that lower torque strut. So that's it. Let's take our chance. I'm gonna get things swapped around here. I think it's a great place to stop for part 2 of the Hyundai series. I'm not gonna bore you with the swapping it over detail and dragging that one in with the lawnmower and getting it up on the table and all that stuff. I'm gonna make that seem effortless to you, like it was no big deal. Shouldn't be, hopefully. I'm gonna let this table down, raise the lift up, swing the arms in, hook onto this baby, lift it up with our lift, set it on a skid, drag it outside. I don't have a pallet jack, so we'll just use the lawnmower, to skid it around. And that way their Wilbur's can pick up their core and all that stuff. I'll get the other engine in, same thing, lift it up with the lift here, set it on our lift table, try to shim up the driver's side of the engine here slightly so it goes in a little bit easier. As I mentioned, we could easily separate the K-frame from it. But I'm definitely using all that stuff out there. 49,000 according to the tag. 49K runs great. That's what was on the tag. And it looks like $1 million. We'll get the converter put back on it. I'm gonna get some things kind of cleaned up, make sure, like I said, I'm gonna double check, triple check those connectors and, hope for the best, plan for the worst. And once it's on the lifting table and I'm satisfied with it, then we're back to where we started. We're gonna go right over there and guide me in, baby. We're gonna slip that thing right back up in there and hopefully get her going there in part 3. And then from there, well, we're gonna have Mrs. O go down and put this car in the road. It's not registered or anything yet. And then we'll take it for a drive. I'm just gonna keep the old rusty brakes and the bad tires and stuff on it, because like I said, I don't wanna invest any more into it until we know we're 100% here. And then we'll figure out what's going on with the stability light and all that stuff. That's probably gonna be in like part 17. I don't know. We're gonna see how long we can milk this for. When you guys are done doing your milking, comment section, folks, Insta, Facebook. We'll see you on the next one. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.